just got done. 3-day road trip with 3 of my kids. Actually, we were taking left early morning, probably about 4:30 in the morning on Monday, the day of the eclipse, and we drove my daughter from where I live down to college in Utah. It was about 11-hour drive one way, and 11 hours for me because I don't pay attention to the speed limit that much. So, but we had my 2 youngest kids, my 16-year-old daughter and my 12-year-old son wanted to come on the trip. So we had all 4 of us, plus all of my daughter's stuff that she had to take to college, of course, and in my car, and drove down there, and we had a blast. And this is what I'll tell you. When I was in the past, and this is one of the reasons I told you maybe I'd share a little bit about why I'm divorced and stuff, but the reason, part of the reason is I could get cranky, especially when I start to get tired, but there's other things that make me cranky. I'll reveal to you is the fact that I have something called post-traumatic stress disorder. So certain things would irritate me or set me off. I don't know. People will call them triggers. I hate using that word, triggers, because I always think like that's something like really, I just think that, we use it too easy now. Trigger alert, but I did. And one of the things, getting in a car, you know how kids can be, their siblings, in a car where they're arguing or they're fighting or they're annoying each other or doing something like that. But they were doing that, and I'll tell you what, man, this is how I know I'm getting better. I'll always have PTSD, and I'll never be cured of it, but I can manage it, and this is how I do it. Man, well, I'm talking about 3 days in the car with my kids, driving, and literally, I probably spent so much money, I'm going to be sick when I look at my bank account. However, it was awesome. I thank my ex-wife for letting me take the other 2 kids with me on this road trip, that's a tremendous gift she gave me to allow me to do that, I can't be more thankful for her for doing that. But anyhow, such a great trip. We had such a good time. We did some road trip karaoke, carpool karaoke, or whatever you want to call it. I think my kids, I'm going to forever be on the internet. I think my kids got me with a video of me doing carpool karaoke with some One Direction, singing some One Direction with my daughters. And the funny thing is that I couldn't tell you one of those kids from the other kid on the One Direction group. I know they broke up or something, because I know that my 16-year-old was like in a state of depression for a couple of months afterwards. But however, they listened to One Direction so much on other road trips that I literally, through osmosis, learned all the lyrics to most of their songs on most of their records. So, and you know what? They wore on me a little bit. I'm more of a country music fan guy and classic rock and roll like AC/DC and stuff like that. But, the One Direction kids, they grew on me a little bit. And so when my daughter popped into One Direction on off of her iPhone onto the car stereo, I couldn't help but kind of get into it and sing along with them. And man, it was a good time, and I was able to let my hair down. Both my 19-year-old, who I was taking to college, and my 16-year-old told me, and this is a quote, that was impressive that I knew all the lyrics to those songs. So anyways, just as a dad, being a divorced dad, not getting to spend as much time as you want with the kids, to have that 3 days where I just had a total awesome road trip with them, where we just got to spend some hotel time together. We got to spend just eating out, being goofy, doing fun things. Holy Toledo, I'm telling you, man, that was awesome. And I'll cherish that little road trip for the rest of my life, because I think that those two being the youngest, especially, it's actually my three youngest that were with me there. My daughter I dropped off in college is my middle child, but just having that time with, especially my two youngest, and my daughter Sydney, who is my middle child. I think that they probably, without saying it, they took the divorce the hardest, and they probably, they're a lot closer to their mom than me. And there's lots of reasons for that. I spent most of my life, working and not being home with them. And my wife spent a lot of time, being able to be at home with them and nurture them and do that. And I think that's great. That's what it's supposed to be like. That's what's supposed to happen. So I'm not complaining about that. What I'm saying is I got an awesome time to spend with my three youngest kids, and they absolutely had a tremendous time with me. And they saw a different side of me, of where I did not flash any irritability or any anger or anything like that. My daughters, my 12-year-old did start to get on my daughter's nerve at one point, in the trip and stuff like that. And I had to finally, after I asked him about 10 times to quit it, I finally had to use a stern voice with him. But it wasn't like this explosion or anything like that, where it was like, but in the past where I would have yelled, I was like, hey, stop it! I told you a million times, don't make me pull this car over. Of course, I didn't have to do that, which was awesome. And well, I didn't have to do that in the past. And that's where I'm a different me. That's where I'm a different person. And I really loved this time I had with them. I'll cherish it, like I said, forever. Anyhow, the nice thing about my ex is the fact that she's, like I said in my previous video, she's an angel, she's a saint. And to allow her to let me, I'll tell you, at one point in the trip, my youngest daughter Ryan, she was actually born in Las Vegas. And so when when she knew we were close to Las Vegas, I mean, it would have probably taken us about 4.5 hours to drive there from where we were at. And so she was killing me, like, let's go. And I was like, your mom will just absolutely gut me if I took you to Las Vegas. And to her credit, when she does, she goes, no. Now, I don't know if that was sabotage. I don't think so, because like I said, my ex-wife is an angel. She was like trying to be the cool mom and say, yeah, I don't have a problem with it, or she just absolutely trusted me enough to take my two youngest kids to Las Vegas, which would have been, to me, not a choice place to take them. Shoot, 10 years ago, I would have been the big, stupid, dumb enough idiot to do something like that. You know what I mean? And you know how it goes on some of those things. I was telling my children, when your mom says do whatever, it doesn't mean do whatever. It means it's a dare. That's what it is. I dare you to do it. And then I would have paid the consequences later, maybe. I don't know. So I'm glad I didn't have to find that out, because I was able to find something else for us to do that they really had a good time with. And like I said, man, cherish your times with your children. Cherish it, because they grow up so stinking fast. I remember each and every single one of those kids the first time I ever held them in my hands. And it seemed like yesterday, 20, my oldest will be 26 in October, and it literally seems like yesterday I held that little guy in my hand the first time, with his dark hair matted all over the place, crinkly, wrinkly face. I was kind of surprised about how ET-ish he looked, but he was I fell in love. I fell in love from the very instant that I saw him, and every single kid was the same way. And I am... I'll tell you, don't take it for granted. I spent too many years taking it for granted. Being a dad, taking being a dad for granted, taking being a husband for granted, taking my children and my ex-wife for granted, and just assuming that, crap, it's always just going to be this way. We're always just going to be a family. And, You never know. Life throws some really crappy crap at you sometimes, and this is one of those things. Being a divorce, and not being able to be, the realization is how much you did take them for granted, and now it's time to change that. Anyhow, so I'm going to sign off now. Anyways, follow me at dadwithavlog.com, and you can also follow me on Twitter at dadwithavlog. Oh no, at rickfrancis71. Excuse me. You can follow me on Instagram at dadwithavlog. So anyhow, take it easy, and I'll upload another video soon.